How do I do this?
And good morning, everybody. It is Fabulous Friday featuring Antonio Perez. And have I said that right, Antonio?
Yeah. Yes.
And Antonio, I met you at Hypnothoughts Live in the pool. I do believe Gila Zach was with us when I first met you. And
I think it was like the first day.
Yeah.
People were kind of getting there. Yeah.
And it was great fun. And we started chatting because I believe I was talking on Navigate, or I will be. Anyway, I see people with dementia, living with dementia. And you said, yes, I help caregivers. I go into nursing homes and things like that. However, there's so much more that I don't know about you, Antonio, because we know what it's like when we're at these big conventions. People are chatting, and then somebody else comes, hello, yeah. And it's and then there's never any time for a good old meaty chat. So I know we started having a good old discussion, and then it just like it didn't carry on. So, Antonio, I want to know more about you. I want to know more about how you help people in nursing homes, and take it away.
I should have my puppet. I have a puppet laying. Oh, is it right here? Speaking of care, so I became a informal caregiver. Girlfriend and I did because our property manager asked us to keep a look on our elderly neighbor. I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever. How hard can that be? Can't be that hard. It's a lot of work. Yeah. It got to the point where we started helping him with small things. We would, I think he was 86 and he needed a ride to go to a doctor's appointment. So we could have set the bus up for him. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to make this old man take a bus, get there and be like, because even at my age, I forget things. I'm not going to send a 90-year-old to the bus. So we just started doing like small things here and there in 2016. And then we were basically, and I hate saying caregiver. I hated saying it for the longest time because we were best friends. It wasn't so much it wasn't charity. There were times that he would come up to our apartment and just, I don't want to be a burden. I'm like, dude, uncle, especially during the pandemic, I'm like, I've got no friends right now. I got people on the internet and you. And for me, a lot of it was, I can have a real playful attitude. It was him and I just being like young teenagers.
Good.
One thing that I did to keep him occupied. So when the pandemic was when was it 2021, I had to go back to work, and I knew it was going to mess with his routine because he was used to coming up to our apartment every day, multiple times throughout the day. It'd be like 2:00. We're like, nope, not dinner yet. Come back. An hour later, is it dinner? I'm like, no, come back. And I knew when girlfriend and I were working, it would really mess with with everything because he was used to that routine. So I told him we're going to go fishing. He's like, what are we fishing for? I'm like, we're fishing for tourists. So I would go down to the beach. I would take like my wallet, line it with fish line, and we would just throw it on the sidewalk. And him and I, we would, like the prank. If you're on a boardwalk, you see $5, you go to grab it, and somebody rips the fishing line.
Okay.
So him and I, that was our way of having fun. And I remember a couple of times we did that. People were like, that's not funny. Meanwhile, you've got a 9-year-old that's like dying and laughing. I'm like, oh, it's funny. It's keeping him occupied. So a lot of it, it just happened. And one of the principles that I'm sure you're well aware of in the hypnosis NLP community is the idea of go there first. Like you have to agree. If they are having a delusion, go with them.
Oh, yeah.
I was in the nursing home one time. In the last, I think, 2 months of his life, he had a really something called bullous pemphigoid. It's a really weird skin condition. Dementia, you start like pulling, like ripping your skin. It was super painful. So I walked into his room and I could tell you. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I call it the dementia stare. When you're looking at somebody, but it's like they're looking beyond you.
Okay.
So I would kind of walk in and I'm like, Uncle, what's going on? And he's like looking down through his window at the roof. He's like, do you see the dogs? Do you see the dog on the roof? I'm like, yeah. Do you see the frog next to the dog? So we would just go with it. Because if I said no, it's going to piss him off.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. Stay with them. Agree with them. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Anne. Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. No. It could actually be quite good fun.
Oh, it was a blast. We had a blast with it. But he thought he was in jail. I'm like, you're not in jail. I get to the nursing home. I'm like, you're not in jail. And I think I had to agree with him to a point. I'm like, listen, if you're good, if you're like a good inmate or whatever, like you're gonna get a good dinner. Just go along with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So make it fun, make it playful. And so he felt he was in prison.
Yeah, at one point he thought he was in jail because I think he'd probably he had been locked up when he was younger. I think for something like not that big of a deal. I think for stealing tires or something. So he was kind of going back to old memories.
Right.
You know, we have this thread where you're kind of going back to old memories.
Yeah, that's where I find havening is actually a really useful thing to do with my clients. If there's an old thing that is coming up again, like that is causing an issue, that is when you can actually either do it on them or they can do it themselves, and that can help get rid of that.
And that's good because people with dementia, well, from what I've seen in the nursing home, they will give them tactile stuff to play with, like little puppets. I actually bought this it's like a little squirrel puppet, so you can actually, it looks like you can make it look like it's climbing. So I'll go in the nursing home just to have fun with the residents, but I know that I don't want to get too close to them. I have to kind of introduce it, and some of them think it's real, but this one lady, and we're all adults here, so we'll appreciate this. This lady, she's got to be 80 maybe. Every time I go in there, she's always flirting with the old Hawaiian lady. So I pretend like it's like eating on her hand, kiss her, and then I sit down and I go like this, and she looks at me. She's like, "It looks like a squirrel." She's like, "You gotta tell that thing, go in your pants and find a nut." I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Shh." And they're just hilarious. Like,
well,
whatever they say,
and I'm glad it's a fluffy tail and not a long, thin one, because otherwise it would actually look like a rat.
Yeah, I can tell some of the residents are a little nervous, so I don't get too close to them.
Yeah,
because you're not entering your world, you're entering their world, and you have to be very respectful of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Always. So is that what you do now as well? You visit residential homes and
it's been a while. It's been a while. It's kind of sad. Sometimes I'll go in there, I'm like, "Hey, where's so and so?" They get real quiet. I'm like, "Oh, okay." It's a little sad. But it's sad. The one place where he was at, it took me a minute to go back there after he passed away, just because of like the smell, everything. I go in there, everything kind of floods back. But when we were going there, I think a lot of people felt, because a lot of people, I think, in nursing homes kind of get forgotten. Families don't come out and check on them. So I would go in there. If I would like fist bump him, I would sit with him. I could see other residents looking at me. So over the course of, I think, 8 months, I would go in there. I would fist bump one person, and then they all look at me like, "Oh shit, I have to go through blah blah blah," like fist bump everybody. And there's this
old, want to be left out. They're like big kids.
There's this old Japanese lady. I go to fist bump her, and then I go like this, and she puts her hands up like she's and it's hilarious because she's like pretending like she's punching me. I'm like, "Come on, lady, I would destroy you." No, but you got to have fun with them.
Yeah. And if we can bring in play and lighten somebody's day, then to me that's a win. Always, it's about, what can we do to lift somebody's spirits up, and I love that you have that, because it's again, it's just a little toy, and then they're looking at that, not at you, and it's just something else. And then invariably you can get stories about, "Oh, I used to have this, or there was this naughty squirrel that always ate all the bird seed, and there was this," and everybody's got a story with a squirrel.
Oh, you just reminded me. When our neighbor was in the hospital, he broke his hip. I can't find that book. There's a really good book of a book on hypnotic. God, what's that book called? I think it was Therapeutic Stories for Kids of Dysfunctional Families by Lee Wallace. And when our neighbor, the hospital system here is not good. We have 2 hospitals. The main hospital, I was really mad because we didn't know he broke his hip. My girlfriend texting at work, she called me, it's an emergency. And I get to his house, he can't stand up. We get him to the hospital. And we found out after 9 days, we're wondering, like, why is his pain not getting any better? His leg he had a fractured hip, they didn't bother to x-ray him. Even though we told him, like, hey, he has dementia. We think he fell. They x-rayed, I think, from the knees down. So he had to, it was about a month or 2 months in, he had to get hip surgery. And then I'm trying to explain to him, like, hey, uncle, come on. We got to get you walking. But he's like, I've been walking because of dementia. I'm like, oh, shit. So part of me, I'm like, okay, how am I going to navigate this? And I went back to the principle of go there first. So I got a bunch of single dollar bills. I went in the hospital, and he thought he was in his apartment. So I went in. I'm like, uncle, I'm like, you're about to get kicked out of your apartment. Like, I got to pay rent. Because we'd always help him pay rent when he lived next to us. And he's like, I don't have a job. What am I going to do? And I pull out a fat stack of ones and I open my wallet. I'm like, oh, cool. They're paying you to exercise your legs. Here. And I would make him do his leg. Every one I would like count $1 bill, $1 bill. And that worked for about 2 weeks. And then he caught on.
Oh.
What I was going to say right before that, in regards to trying to get him to walk, the book by Lee Wallace, there's a story about like babies learning to walk for the first time. So at this point, I'm like, you know what? It can't hurt. So I would open it up and I'd like basically pretend like it's a bedtime story. I'm reading him a story. His name was Tom. So I was reading a story and I would use my fingers like, oh, like uncle, like there's this a little baby, he's learning to walk. Oh, and he falls down and he's laughing because he's got that playful attitude. I'm like, yeah, guess what his name is? Like, what? I'm like, his name is Tommy. He's like me? Because I think at that point, if he had been young enough, he would have known like, okay, I get it. It's a 1-to-1. But having dementia, I think he didn't realize. I think he might have almost been regressed like at an earlier age, so he didn't realize I was making that direct connection. So I'm not sure if it helped, but at least it even if it didn't help him to want to do his exercises, it made it easier for me to communicate with him. Because if I was angry, it's game over.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you're spending time with him. And at some point, if somebody's walking and he's called Tom, then that's Tom who's walking. Yeah. So that is, and that's how he may make the link. Who knows? But it's just that it's just wonderful that you're spending time with somebody and helping them.
We did get him walking to a point. Part of it, dementia, they're fighting against you, and even the what's it called? The physical therapists are like, hey, like he needs to start walking because they'll do what's it called? I think for insurance they have to say if they're making progress or whatnot. And I remember one time I went in there and we could get him walking a little bit, but he was just pissed off. Part of it is at his apartment, he'd always sit outside. He'd sit by the sun. Mm-hmm. But during his stay at the hospital, I mean, it was just a bunch of like one bad thing after another. He got mumps and this happened. So he couldn't get him outside because of like, I think drop it protocol. They don't want to spread mumps to anybody. So one day I walk into his hospital room because rehab was going to be, the physical therapy was going to be there at like 2:00 or 3:00. So I got there after work. I get in, I'm like, uncle, look. I'm like, pointing to the window. I'm like, look how nice it is. You know, I think at this time we were able to start getting him outside. So I would use exercise to try to motivate him. Like, hey, we're going to exercise, get you outside. So I come in his room. I look like, oh, look how nice it is. And right off, he's like, I want to go outside like now. And I could tell like, I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know, uncle, we have to wait until we do the exercises. And then it took about an hour and a half before the nurse could finally get him up. But as soon as the nurse came up, they go to lift him up. He just boom, like he like damn near jumped out of. We've never seen him jump up that fast. And then it dawned on me. I'm like, now I know the secret. So I knew it was like he linked up son being able to go outside with. That's how he linked that up. So his motivation was to get him up.
Yeah.
So what I would do, and I think this is part of my mischievous nature, I would go in there. And it would time. I would tell the nurses, like, hey, come every so often, get them excited about going out. Be like, hey, we're not going to go out yet. So I would go in, like, uncle, look how nice it is. I did this for over the course of maybe 2 weeks. And he's, okay, I want to go. I would get him, like, so agitated. So by the time, like, nurses would come in, and he thought he was going to get up, like, whatever, they're lying. Then finally, when they did come, like, an hour and a half later, and they go to pull him up, he would damn near jump up. He had all that pent-up frustration. So part of it, I think it was, we almost had the playful attitude of just like, you know, young boys that are like punching each other, just having fun. I think part of it was me messing with him, I was giddy knowing I could manipulate that situation to get him out. So I think part of it was, it validated me in a sense, gave me purpose.
And I mean, is there any possibility those exercises could ever be done outside with people, or is it they have to do it on the bed?
No. Some of them they could do on the bed. Where I think he had to lay down. We had to have him like stretch his legs like that. But some of them he had to get out of bed to do them.
Yeah. So
we try. I mean, we got real creative. Where I know he loved his mom, so we get him out of bed, and it was in I think a walker. And we're come on, Uncle, stand up. He's all mad, and I would like take a picture of his mom. I'm like, hey, what would your mom say? He's like, oh. She would tell him like, hey, get up. And then we would even like take $100 bills, like with doing the $1 thing. I'm like, here, we're gonna pay you $100. After he would stand up, we would like take the money, let him put it in his wallet, and then girlfriend would take the wallet, pull the money out, give it back to me. So we just have to keep circling it around.
Yeah. Or swap tails with that funny little thing you've got and say there's a rat in the room. We've got to get out. That would work for me.
Yeah, like hey, like you don't get up. One thing, feedback system that can definitely help people. If you've got somebody like maybe they have dementia and you want them to meditate, it's hard to teach somebody with dementia how to meditate. What we would do is, those little things that toys get, the little, not a fidget spinner, but they're like little plastic thing with a little push bubble things.
Yes.
When he was in the bed, I would put it on his stomach. Like, here, make it move. I would tell him to breathe and make it move, and it would either help him to slow his anxiety down, or after
that's a good idea. Yeah. That's a really good idea, actually. That to put something on somebody's stomach. If you're wanting to calm them down, then what now focus on that and watch it move. That's good. That's actually good for all ages.
And with somebody that's that old, the easiest thing for them to do is just to sleep. For one, their body's gonna be healing. A couple times I would, he would come over to our apartment, freaking. I came up understandably, so I was like, "Have you seen my wife?" And his wife had passed away. I'm like, "Oh shit!" So I had to sit him down and break the news to him. A lot of times he would just have this kind of free floating anxiety. So I would sit outside of his apartment. Like, come on, we're gonna breathe. I'm like, here, take a deep breath. But first he would do it like this. He'd go. You see in his chest. I'm like, you're gonna pass out. No. And I would teach him how to like breathe through his stomach. And then I would hear I hear him snoring. I'm like, perfect. As long as you're sleeping, I don't care. If you're sleeping, you can't get nervous.
Antonio, it's a very good point you've just made. So there is the whole thing of, well, you can tell them that their their wife has died, say, again, and then like the next week or the next day, they may ask that again. How often did he used to ask that ask for his wife?
It wasn't too often, maybe once a week. One time he came up, and this kind of gave me a clue into it. Have you ever seen the movie Memento?
I'm not sure.
Memento's about a guy that whose wife had passed away. He didn't know why, and I think his brain was based. It's almost like if somebody has trauma, they kind of can block things out.
Yeah. Well, Antonio, because what we do is often we might say to somebody, if they're constantly asking for their loved one, then we might say they've gone shopping, or they're on vacation with so and so, because every time they hear that their partner's died again, they're going through grief again.
Yeah.
And it can be just as upsetting, like you're saying, cause anxiety and what have you. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
That I was torn on that, because we were worried, like hey, now in retrospect, now another thing I just thought about, I'm gonna make a note for myself, is we were on the second story, and we were really worried because he would come up and down all the time, and we were like terrified of him falling. And I think if I said, hey, she'll be back in a little bit, and we would know, because we would hear the cane, and I would hear like oh shit, he's coming up. And I would, so what was I going to say? Twofold. I was worried that if he said, oh, no, she went to the store, she'll be back later, I'm worried about him constantly coming up and getting hurt. So yeah, I think it is interesting. Some things I didn't mind lying about, but that one, it was a weird kind of situation.
Yeah, so I think what you're saying, Antonio, is that it's best to actually get curious and take each case by case, because for some people, they may then, as long as they've got that reassurance that say somebody's away, then they may forget anyway to ask that question. But if they're constantly worried, or again, they might go through the whole grief process again. It's about perhaps trial and error and see which one and how long each one lasts for, and which one is the best result for that person. So it's getting curious and what works best for that, that individual.
I was going to say one thing that had happened. I remember, I think it was on a Zoom call. This is probably 2020, maybe 2021. I hear him knocking on the front doors, and we got so comfortable to the point where he would just walk in the house, and I would do the same thing. I'm like, whatever, come on in. He came in, he's like, have you seen my wife? I'm like, oh, uncle, here, take a seat. And I could tell all of a sudden it kind of fell back in, and he told me, I think I remember. Wait, I think he said, I think I remember. I'm just not trying to remember. Almost like, I forget exactly what he said, but it's almost like he was intentionally trying to block it out.
Yeah. Yes, because it is painful. So at what point is it dementia, or is it just, I don't want to know?
Yeah.
Selective memory. A lot of us can have that anyway.
Yeah.
And selective hearing of certain things. So
we did have one time, for a while, I was trying to get him to do a DNA test. That way I could maybe put him in touch. I don't know if he had long lost kids or whatnot, but it got really hard because I don't know if it's with dementia or Alzheimer's diseases, but for those tests, you have to be able to produce saliva. And when he was at the nursing, I had the test for probably like a year before he was in the nursing home. And finally, I knew he was going to pass away. I'm like, hey, told my girlfriend, like, we got to get this test done. To do it, you'd have to, I think, get like saline solution and use like a toothbrush to scrape the side of your mouth and then put the solution in and then send it off. So we went to the nursing home. This was like 6:30 in the morning. And you want to do the DNA test first thing in the morning. It's better to do them first thing in the morning before they eat anything to contaminate the saliva. So I get to the nursing home, and I could hear the nurses say, we're glad you're here. This has never happened before. Okay, what happened? He had been, I think, having a delusion that his wife was missing. And at one point he was saying that there was kids under the bed. So, and we had to show it to him. Like, we had to go show him, like, look, there's no kids here. And then he remembered about his wife passing away. And that was probably the worst I've seen it. We were sitting down for breakfast, and just a look in his face, he's like, this is the worst day of my life. Because he remembered that. I'm like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people in nursing homes, I'm sure you've been in nursing homes, resident homes, you see people in wheelchairs that they're like, no, stay over here. They just get on, they keep on going because their memory's telling them they have to go check on something, they have to check on the kids, blah, 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 blah. So we were constantly worried that, I forget where I was going with that point.
Yeah, that if he thought his wife was still alive, he would
exactly,
be looking for her. And there you go. And then he would be walking with purpose as opposed to wandering.
Yeah.
He would actually be walking with purpose, and could get more agitated. So there's, like I say, you've got to check which, the scenario with each person. I think, what works best. But it's tragic. It's horrible. What's it like? Because you're in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Where did you live before then?
I'm originally from Michigan. I've been here. It'll be 18 years in January.
Oh, 18 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're really navigating the health system in Hawaii. And which island are you on?
I'm on Kauai. It's the smallest island. Population is 73,000 maybe.
Okay. And how many hypnotists are on the island?
I just heard another ad. I just heard an ad for another one. There's a small handful of people.
Do you all get together? Do you know each other?
Yeah, a couple. Me and another friend, we had a falling out over some Facebook stuff. He used to go to HypnoThoughts. I haven't seen him in a while, which is a bummer. Ron, if you're hearing this, I would like to see you back at Hypno Thoughts. We need somebody back to do improv. So Ron, go back and do improv at Hypno Thoughts. There's a couple of hypnotists here and there, but not okay. Yeah, you're giving me motivation to start reaching out to some people. Hey, let's network. There's another lady on the west side of the island that I think we wanted to hang out or do a session trade, but I think she's dealing with being a caregiver or something or other, which makes sense. Being a hypnotist, generally you like the idea of like helping people, so it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it just does. And then supporting people who are also caregivers and need help with their, because they get exhausted, overwhelmed, frustrated, angry, despondent, all the things, resentful, it's hard work,
There's a hypnotist. I didn't hang out with her in the hypnosis context, but in the context at improv, we've been doing improv at every Friday, these improv workshops, and she's now working with Healing Horses. It's this organization here that brings horses into the nursing homes. Which is
brilliant. That's what who I trained with, Dr. Daniel Nightingale. He absolutely loves that. He always says about like if you can bring a dog in, a horse in. I mean, how wonderful. Obviously not one that's going to go charging around, but
yeah, exactly. Some bear horses like bucking everybody.
Yeah, but
there was one time we went in there, and then I'll when I'm at Hypno Thoughts, if I have the video, I'll show it to you. They have these little Shetland, I think they're Shetland pony, they're real small little miniature horses.
Falembellas, they're the tiniest.
What do they call them?
Falembellas. That's the tiniest horse.
Nice. I was in there, and they brought the little ponies in, but of course they're even great for adults. But these are amazing. Yeah. They give them a little brush, and then our neighbor used to train Arabian horses, so he's
wow.
Oh yeah, I've got somewhere around here. I've got like a photo album of all the horses he trained. So he's like petting the mane. I don't know where the mane is. I don't know anything about horses. And then I think he thought it was like it was my job to pet it. So I was here, pet his mane. I'm like, he's like, he was getting angry. He's like, no, his mane. I'm like, oh, like it was so funny. I think he thought it was like he was training me how to.
Probably.
Yeah,
and that's what we do as a consultant. I get really curious about people's past and what they used to do, their identity, how they define themselves. I get to learn all about their old hobbies and things like that. And then it's like, we bring back their personhood.
Yeah,
and they go, and maybe that's what he used to do. He may well have had his own horse and knew exactly how to look after one. And that's what this animals do for people. They bring back those memories of, oh yes, I used to like doing this. I had a rabbit when I was younger, or I was this, or I had a guinea pig, or animals are great, and they're very healing.
And music.
Yeah. Absolutely. You hand out instruments in groups. Have you done that? Antonio?
No, but I do have 2 of his ukuleles. That's the one thing I told him. Like, hey, when you pass away, only thing I want is one of your hats. He had one of those old newspaper style hats, like newspaper boy hats, and the ukuleles. I'm like, that's all I want. I didn't really pass out instruments, except I would give him his ukulele, and he would play even in the nursing home. But yeah, music, I've always known is good for dementia. One day my brother and his ex-husband were stuck at the beach and needed a ride. I'm like, Uncle, let's go for a ride. Go for a ride. I put on Johnny Cash. All of a sudden I could hear him singing. I'm like, oh, bingo. So that was one of my biggest joys was when he was still living next to us. I'm like, come on, Uncle, let's go for a ride. And I'd have to be a smart ass here and there. One time I called him up. It was probably like 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, hey, Uncle, you want to go for a ride? He's like, hey, I'm okay. Come outside your apartment. I'll be there in a minute. Pull up girlfriend's car, and he gets in. I'm like, what's up, young man? He's like, I'm not that young. I'm like, you're younger today than the day you die. He's like, good point. I'm like, who knows? You might live another 10, 15, 20 minutes. And just that. But at least we had that relationship where, yeah, he could laugh and say, "Oh, I hope I live longer." He ended up living like another 4 years. I'm like, "Don't worry, you got time." The one of the biggest things I can think of is I made a playlist on my phone. It was called Uncle's Playlist. So I'll listen to it now. It definitely brings up tears when I do it. But if you can figure out the specific music they like, it's one of the best things you can do, especially if they're sundowning. Crank the music up.
Absolutely. I used to go to some people's house, and I, in fact, I think I left it there. They've still got it. Country music, and it was a little play machine, and CD player, and I would dance with them, line dancing. That's what they like to do. So there we were, Dolly Parton, all the things, and we were in their room. Her and her daughter would be line dancing. It's exercise. It's making people laugh, and it's being silly, and it's like, and it brings back good feelings, the endorphins. So yeah.
For the longest time, I was trying. I'm very science minded, but sometimes I was trying every possible thing. I wanted to figure out like how can we make things better. You can't cure dementia, at least not at this point. I was trying to figure out like what can we do. There's like they're talking about like blue lights and supplements and this and that and that. And I think a lot of those companies are very predatory. They're out to make a buck. And I think my girlfriend told me, even at the nursing home, I was, as I should be present, I'm like here, like looking at my phone, trying to find things we can do, make every possible thing. And then it dawned on me, he's not going to be here at one point. So who gives a shit? Put the phone down. And as I was trying to find the solution, but the solution at the time was to be present.
Yeah. Be present, enjoy the moment. And you know what? At some point, because if you get somebody at the very beginning bit, they just get the diagnoses, then it's okay to actually get curious. And what can you do? Reduce sugar, reduce the, soda, all these sorts of things, introduce more water, maybe sort of like mushroom coffee, it's like, there's all the things that you can add. You say blueberries, dark chocolate, no alcohol, all those things. However, it's like, at what point, if somebody is so far down their road and they want to eat ice cream.
When he would come over, he would just eat Oreos. His whole thing was he would just, we actually have a picture on our wall. I have a metal print of him. I remember, I think it was at work, girlfriend, like he came up when I was at work and he just like eating all my cookies. And my girlfriend's like, "Uncle, you're eating his cookies." So he got a kick out of it. She got a picture of him like with a cookie on the camera. And I think I text my girlfriend a picture back of me going like put my gloves up, like, "Hey, watch it. Quit eating my cookies." But people would tell us like, "Oh, he should watch what he eats." I'm like, dude, he's freaking 80. And I've always made this bad joke. I've never done heroin, but I've joked, I'm like, listen, when I'm 90, let my veins up. Give me Demerol. Give me a cigarette. I haven't smoked cigarettes in years. Give me a shot of whiskey. Let me enjoy my time.
Yeah, an uncle of mine recently passed from cancer, and he actually got an extra 9 years of life. And you know what? I mean, he saw more great grandchildren. He chose, it was his choice. He chose to keep on smoking his pipe, and he was never going to not do that. Well, he lived for an extra 9 years smoking his pipe from when actually they told him he was going to die. Maybe he might have got an extra 12 years, who knows? But the fact is, he enjoyed still smoking his pipe. And that was who he was. That's what he chose to do. There comes a point where it has to be somebody's choice. Because otherwise you're taking away their identity, their personhood, and, you're
taking away their agency.
Yes, exactly. So I can't help but keep saying Antonio. So I've got here Claudia Ricard, creator of the Bunny Talk process, and you have Antonio Perez, escaping the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So, you're going to have to tell me more about that.
And that was funny. I didn't really realize it until we jumped on here. So escaping the rabbit hole, for years, I grew up in Michigan. I had a lot of bad depression, anxiety. I think it was suicidal over a girl. And I'm not going to just blame it on the girl. It was other. I'd been suicidal for a while. And I think the one suicide attempt was kind of precipitated by all that. After that, I ended up. I remember. No, I was at a bar in Detroit, or outskirts, and I was probably commiserating with some guy, and I still remember this guy, old white guy. He's got like a denim jacket, had a pocket constitution, which is, if anybody has a pocket constitution, that's kind of a weird thing just to have that out in public.
What do you mean a pocket constitution?
It's basically a constitution that it basically the U.S. Constitution, but it's like little Bible, like little version.
Oh, okay, right. I'm
he,
English, so I'm not aware.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I think it was I think he might have been a militia member, something like Michigan militia kind. I was commiserating about probably about that girl and life, and he, for the next hour or so, he would talk about the New World Order, all these like basically these shadowy forces. And I think I latched onto that idea about the New World Order, all these conspiracy theories, because I wanted a reason to understand, why am I depressed? Oh, it's not because of what I'm doing on the inside. It's because of all these things on the outside. It's the idea of external locus of control. So he asked me if I knew who Alex Jones was. If you're not familiar, he was the scumbag that basically said that Sandy Hook didn't happen, all the parents were lying, blah, 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 blah. I went home, I watched all of his videos, like went real deep in the rabbit hole on conspiracy theories. I was depressed all the time, like always listening to conspiracy whack. You know, if you have any kind of like paranoia or real bad anxiety, conspiracy theories are the one of the few things you want to avoid, because it helps to feed back. So
does it? Yeah.
In 2006 or 7, I was coming back from computer school, and the bus would come down Rosa Parks and would turn towards the highway. One day the bus was coming down, skipped over whatever the side road that would go to the highway, turned onto Michigan Avenue. The next thing I know, and I swear to God, there's like black helicopters flying over. At this point, I'm like, holy shit. Because there's a lot of people think, like, oh, the black helicopters, it's the government or whatnot. So I'm losing my mind. So I get off the bus, and as I'm walking, I see it looks like a bomb had gone off in the street. There's like paramilitary with like fully armed guards. So at this point, I'm like, oh my God, Alex Jones is right. All these conspiracy theory radio hosts are right. As I'm getting ready to run past the train station to get home to warn my patriot friends, all the militia people on MySpace, I see a guy about a block away. The best way to describe him, he looks like a guy, like a skeleton with a scrotum stretched over it, and like two like beady eyes. I'm like looking at this. I'm like, how do I know this guy? I'm getting ready to run past him. I look over. I'm like, why is Steve Buscemi here? The actor. And I heard quiet on the set. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Which movie were they?
The Island. I think The Island's one, like they're trying to escape I forget what it is. So the funny thing is I've told that story so many times that the part with Steve Buscemi, he wasn't actually there, but I put him there almost for comedic effect, and which just goes to show you that all of our stories, we start changing them. Yeah.
We delete, distort. Yeah.
Yep. When I watch that movie, there's one scene where they're flying black helicopters over Detroit. That's the one where they were filming when I was in the bus. My anxiety starts coming back. I'm like, oh wait, no, not real. Brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. I'm like, wait, I was there. It didn't happen. So that was one of the precipitating factors, I think the word is, to stop listening to all that stuff. Because I got to the point, and I moved to Hawaii in 2008. I got to the point, I'm like, what if all that garbage about the New World Order, what if it's all real? I don't believe it, but what if it is real? Who cares? I can't control it. I can barely control what's here, because life, I'm like, I can barely control what's on the inside. So I'm not going to waste my time stuff I can't control. So basically, escaping the rabbit hole was podcast I started. I haven't done an episode in a while. It's a way, I guess, for family members of of conspiracy theorists that have like maybe their family's gone really far down the rabbit hole. If they have a story they want to share.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, and you help them literally come back.
Not necessarily. Okay, I think I wanted to write a book on like how to help conspiracy theorists come back, but it's really because if somebody's knee deep into like, have you ever heard of QAnon, or if they're knee deep in that kind of stuff, they don't. A lot of people don't want to come back from that. I think people will come back.
They've got to be right.
What?
Because they've got to be right.
I think part of it, and there's validation.
Yeah.
When people start meeting people, and I think when anybody, not necessarily just a conspiracy theorist, when anybody meets somebody that shares the same view, it's like, look, and especially if it's a big group of people, it's like, look,
see, we're right.
We're right. And then you think, I was going to say, if you meet people, they have the same views, you're like, we're right. And then it makes you think that that's the normal view. Everybody should have that view.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Yeah. It's like, and at the end of the day, you know, I've actually been with a couple. It's like, I'm okay, you're okay, we're okay. I'm right from my model of the world. Yeah. You're right from your model of the world. And sometimes it's like, just leave it like that. You know, when you come across, if anybody does come across a conspiracy theorist, it's, it can be quite tricky. If somebody is living with one. How long were you, were you in that rabbit hole for?
2002 to 2008.
And out of interest, Antonio, when you had that experience and you had that moment where you thought, this isn't true, this isn't real, because it's actually a set and I didn't need to have that. And so how much else is just like not true? Did you then find yourself coming out of that depression?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think there's a couple other factors that helped. One time are you familiar with Kundalini at all, or the idea of the chakra? So
yes.
In 2007, maybe I heard about Kundalini, and I can be a very analytical person, so I thought like, hey, this stuff sounds like bullshit. Let me make myself have a Kundalini awakening. I did, and it was terrifying. It was very psychedelic, caused some auditory hallucinations. It was almost bordering, I think, schizophrenia. I started getting really paranoid. That lasted for about 6 months, and I think it gradually helped to my not scientific theory is to help to quote unquote burn my depression away. Almost like it was like purging it through my system. That's just one element. Another element is I think age probably helped.
Okay.
Age helped. Parents, I moved with them in Hawaii in 2008. They got offered teaching jobs in 2006. So I think I got out of that element. Other element is a lot of NLP techniques on myself. And here's one thing I think, here's one problem with the hypnosis community, NLP community, is sometimes people think like, oh, there's almost like a shunning away from actual therapy. For a while, I was very stubborn. I'm like, you know what? I can do this on my own. You know, I don't need anybody else's help. Even help from hypnotists. Part of it was, and speaking of, I love parts work. So when I'm like part of it, so it's something on the inside was definitely driving that behavior. I just would reject doing therapy. I'm like, you know, I can do it on my own. I've done a lot of good work on myself. Don't get me wrong. So a month and a half ago, I decided there's a guy here that does IFS. If you're familiar with internal family systems, great stuff. I started working with him, and it's good because coming from seeing the perspective of what hypnotists do versus somebody that's an actual therapist, where they're doing the full intake, asking about the family, asking about a ton of stuff. I think we could learn a lot from the actual therapy world and not try to act like, oh, our techniques, even though a lot of techniques can be fast, they don't need to be. Sometimes it's a gradual process.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't mind saying I work alongside a lot of therapists and psychologists. So I've actually seen them. And I remember when they said to me, I said, I'm not an American therapist. And they go, I don't want an American therapist, because they don't want to. There's a lot of people who don't want to talk about the story. They do want change work quickly. Yeah. Saying that, the modalities I use do lend themselves to that. So, you know, it's like with the various eye movements, and it's bunny eye movements that I use, you know, because I'm trained in so many other areas of with eye movements. Now, it's, you know, like you say, there's nothing necessarily new. There's just different ways of using stuff.
Different variations.
Yeah, exactly. And then they send me their clients. They actually send me their clients because they know how I work. And and then they also are still in the therapy because I can't do what they do. And it's, however, I've been able to help people, you know, say because one of the things they wanted help with was a porn addiction, or it was they had ruminating suicidal thoughts. Now, it was like, that is what the psychologist sent me, because she knows the stuff I do can help that. But she felt safe enough sending somebody like that to me, because they were under her care as well. So it's, and yeah, it was 5 weeks. They couldn't believe it. It was like, and she actually said, I remember she said to, you know, he said, she's told me to tell you I have these thoughts. And I'm like, okay. And it's just like, you know, and it's fine. I don't get fazed by it. You know, but I know they were still under her care. And yeah, you know,
did the therapist, did they help to get him to a stabilized baseline before you started seeing them?
No.
Okay.
No. She just knew that the way I worked, because the way I worked with her, that I'd be able to work with them as well. And I must admit, that's what I'm now training in the bunny talk process. And I know that 2 of them that I've trained, that I've seen therapists, they want to learn it, because they want to be able to do it with their clients. It's just a very different way of working. I think a lot of it goes to the awareness with the emotional intelligence coaching that's in it. So it's a whole framework. It's a whole system. It's a step-by-step process of how to work with somebody.
Is it similar? Is it similar to the IEM? What's it?
IEMT. So I'm IEMT trained. I trained in that in 2000 and I can't remember, 17, 18 in England. And
was that with Austin?
No, I trained with oh my gosh, this English woman, I can't remember her name. It'll be up here somewhere. I then trained in the BLAST technique, bilateral analysis stimulation technique, which I absolutely love. That's Nick Davies in England. That's trauma PTSD. And there's a very lot of trauma-informed stuff, ego states in that. And then I trained in Havening, as you know, is a psychosensory tool. Now, because I really wanted to do that to work with my people living with dementia. And I see people with eye difficulties. So you can't use the eye movements with somebody who has eye difficulties.
If they've had a stroke, for example, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's like, it's too difficult. And just sometimes Havening is the one that does it.
Especially for like I was talking earlier about people with dementia, sometimes they need that's
touch.
I wonder why it is, because a lot of them, I think, feel, here's my off the cuff theory, I think they feel disconnected with the world. They need something to almost feel, to help them feel connected.
Because Havening, it goes back to, that was the first thing that we had when we came out, you know, we were held, and it produces serotonin and oxytocin. And then of course, I'm a master NLP practitioner, and there's eye movements in that. You know? So it's like there's so many different people doing eye movements. In my opinion, it works really well, and it works great with children. And I've used, I do it but with the bunny, because that was the communication skill that I used with my daughter. So I'm bringing that in. So it's playful for the child, teenager. It's playful for people with inner child work. And and I've just trained somebody actually in Australia who is a psychologist, psychotherapist. Anyway, she's licensed to see people with schizophrenia, bipolar, and she used the bunny talk with this person living with schizophrenia, and he and the bunny put because she also did the control room with him in hypnosis. We know that that's a wonderful protocol in hypnosis. And the bunny and they put his person, who is his other person that he doesn't want, locked him in a room, in the control room. He was safe, he was whatever. And the bunny and he gave him the drugs. But he said, because he needs the drugs, not me. Now that is massive. That is massive. She's been working with him on and off for 3 years.
Sometimes you have to be creative.
Yeah. And the bunny was the bit that gave the creativity with this young person to do that. So I have since asked, how's it going? It's going great. And it's the first time that he's ever had control over this other person.
Nice. One thing I wanted to say, we were talking about therapy. One of the nice the first one I went to was basically wanting love and approval from my dad, which kind of goes back to why Uncle and I got along so well, our neighbor, we got along so well, is his wife passed away in 2015. My dad left the island 2016, didn't tell us, and it brought back a bunch of trauma, or the idea of like, does he love me? But then I realized he didn't just leave me, he left the entire family. Anyhow, I'm assuming he's not going to watch this video because he's a narcissist and this video is not about him. So why would he watch it? One of the things that I did, one of the nice things that came from therapy, I worked with the part of me that wanted love and approval from my dad. And then the third session, second or fourth session was about a part that always felt lonely. So we did some work, and then we're at Walmart the next day. Girlfriend and I were walking through Walmart with my niece. As I'm walking by, I see some yarn and what's that thing called? I'm gonna get ostracized as I call it, right? It's not a knitting needle. Crochet. I saw the crochet needles.
Okay, yeah.
I got super excited. I'm like, oh my God. Like my mom tried to teach me when I was a kid. But I think when I was a kid, it's like, oh, boys can't crochet. Boys don't do that. I got super excited, so I freaking grabbed some, what's it called? I keep on calling it a crochet needle.
Yeah, crochet needle. And you crochet?
I started, and at first it came out like a little triangle. A piece looked like a triangle, and I tried making it didn't come out to be a square, so I made a joke bathing suit. I told my brother I'm going to send him a bathing suit for Christmas. He's like, no, you're not. But then I was like, you're getting a bathing suit. So obviously,
that's brilliant. But that'd be brilliant for a little teddy bear.
Yeah, well, obviously, or a little bunny bear. Obviously, my
why don't you bring it for my?
I will.
Bring it. Okay, finish it off.
Well, does the bunny have one nipple that's larger than the other? Because obviously.
I don't know, but I've got.
Yeah, I'll bring this, and it's got the little. Oh, I have to make a little. I got to make the backside for the little bikini for your little bunny. But then, so when I was a kid, I was frustrated because I didn't know I could just make one chain, but I didn't know how to like go up one. And then was it 2 weeks ago? I'm like, let me just try. And all of a sudden, when I did it, like the amount of like excitement, like, oh my God, I finally did it. Something like little me couldn't.
That is brilliant. Okay, so that is the sort of thing again with dementia. Again, we're doing like left and right. Anything that is evolving the brain. It's like we've mentioned music. You've got the guitar. You've got piano.
Anything to play the hands.
You know, anything that is just like that. Absolutely brilliant. So I love that. Yeah. Oh, and Antonio, you and I can talk forever. I have really enjoyed.
It's been a blast.
Yeah, to know you so much better.
Little bunny's I got to remember. So I need to make a little backside. So I might even put some elastic on there so it can snap to the bunny.
Yeah. And that's going to be that's going to be so much fun because Bunny will come with me, and because yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing you at Hypnothoughts. That'll be great. I love it.
I can't wait to get there.
I know it'll be so much fun. So thank you. I mean, as I say, we've been talking for ages. So thank you for watching, everybody. And it's goodbye from me, Claudia Ricard, and it's goodbye from.
I want to say, if anybody wants to listen to the podcast, escapingtherabbithole.com, I have not updated in a long time. And depending how your politics are, we may or may not get along. In person will be way better.
Yeah.
People
give me your link. It'll be in the show notes for it. Yeah.
Rock and roll. I can't wait to see you. I'm gonna go pack a little bathing suit.
Go make the other side for the bunny. Yeah.
Will do.
The bunny bottom.
I gotta put does he have a tail on him?
Yeah, he's got a little.
Oh, perfect. I'll modify it for the tail.
There you go. But he's only little. All right.
Okay. Take care.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye now. Bye-bye.